What is up, ladies and gentlemen? Cjthecheesedj here, and we are back with another Warhammer video for you guys today. Now guys, we got another 2v2, and as you can see, we got some big beastie boys hurling some boulders, just flinging them straight out. We got some gyrocopters up in the sky, so I guess you've already got an incentive as to who we are playing, what we've got going on, and whatnot. So guys, we are playing as the Beastmen with our allies, the Dwarves, and let's just say we decided to really bull out on this one, and we've just got literally an army of Minotaurs. So we've got 4 groups of Minotaurs with great weapons, anti-large capabilities. We've got 4 groups of the Minotaurs, normal Minotaurs. These guys are the dual axes. These are the anti-infantry. That's just for this flank. We then also have a Cygor here, a giant there, and then another Cygor. Just a bit of artillery pressure on my opponent because we're like, they're going to be going range. They're going to be high elves, so obviously they'll have the range. And you can already see that we've done some pretty decent damage to the Eagle Claw Bolt Thrower here, and the Eagle Claw Bolt Thrower is there. Now, on this left flank, look at the arrows coming in. We've got Minotaurs with shields, which is exactly why I sent these guys over here to try and soak some of this archer fire. So they've got silver shields. We've got 5 groups of those big boys, I believe. Yeah, so there's 4 of them there, and then there's 1 in reserve over here. And then we've got 2 groups of the Minotaurs with great weapons over here as well. Just to deal with any anti-large capabilities, which I'm glad we brought, because there is a Siren of Red Ruin and a Bloodrack Shrine. As well as that, we've got Malagor, the Dark Omen, couple of spells. He's got Vile Tide. He's got the Summon the Cygor spell. I don't know what that one is called. So we've got Vile Tide, we've got Bray Scream, Mantle of Gorok, and Savage Dominion. Main reason I bought him was for the Savage Dominion to summon in the Cygors. But as well as that, Bray Scream and Vile Tide is actually pretty good against these guys. So there we have a Cygor coming in, and we get him straight away targeting the Blackguard of Naggarond. Elite unit, they do cost quite a bit. And you can see the Minotaurs have taken a little bit of damage from the Archer Fire, but they would have taken significantly more if they didn't have the shields. Now, my ally, he's got a lot of dwarves. He's got 1 flame cannon up on the hill. We've left this guy just in reserve to protect them, an extra buffer as well between these dudes. He's got 2 organ guns and a Goblobber, 3 groups of Slayers, a whole front line of just Dwarven infantry, mainly Hammerers, and then a reserve of Thunderers, and some Gyrocopters with the Brimstone gun up in the sky. As for my opponents, a front line of Dark Shards. I don't know why you wouldn't have swapped them around. Some Black Ark Corsairs, Bleak Swords, Dread Spears, Blackguard, Bloodrack Shrine, and the Medusa. And then the High Elves, there's some Phoenix Guards, some Shadow Warriors. There's more Harganeth Executioners, Malice Darkblade, and Master over here as well. Some Eagle Claw Bolt Throwers, which are pretty much shut down. There's 4 of those. 2 Phoenixes, some Archers, some Dread Spears, a Handmaiden of the Everqueen, and the Pure Main Company, as well as Keepers of the Flame and another group of Phoenix Guard. We also have 2 Centaurs in reserve here, and they are going to go straight beelining for the Archers. But right now, you can see that the Minotaurs are shredding through these poor, unfortunate souls. These poor Dark Shards, they're going to cop some big, beefy horns into their faces. They aren't going to survive for too long. Although it looks like this dude is about to go down. Nah, never mind. Look at this poor dude flying up in the sky. I didn't know he was taking flying lessons. So it's at this stage my opponent decides to move his forces forward. But we get a juicy Vile Tide right in the middle of these Bleak Swords. Just shredding a huge hole in them. And you can see they're already on down to half health. So we've got the Minotaurs spreading across the whole front line. They should be able to deal with the Bleak Swords pretty effectively. The Dark Shards have been shut down. Flame Cannon is opened up on these Eagle Claw Bolt Throwers, and they're pretty much done. We do forget to manage this side and pretty much send all these guys in the onto the 1 unit. Which is fine because he does send in the Phoenixes, so the Minotaurs with great weapons are going to have a feeding frenzy here. We send the Centaurs into the back of the Eagle Claw Bolt Thrower and shut that down permanently. And then we move these guys onto the Shadow Warriors as well to try and shut them down, as well as the other Eagle Claw Bolt Thrower. And you can see we are taking a couple of hits on the Cygor over here, but that's fine. He's doing work. Malagor popping a Bray Scream down on the Blackguard of Naggarond. He does cop a hit from the Medusa, and so does our Cygor. Taking a little bit of a tumble there. You can see a couple of our Minotaurs have routed, but that's fine. They will come back. They've still got quite a bit of health and still 9 models on them. And the Cygor is starting to fade away. But it's at this stage we see that the Bloodrack Shrine is alone. So we decide to send the big boys in with the great weapons, and they're just going to try and charge this big shrine with their horns. They did succeed pretty well. We do send a couple of the shielded variants in here as well to try and shut this down as quick as possible. This poor guy, he just got blasted. He's still getting up though, what a beast. And the Whale of Malice is going down, only hitting a couple of units. We've still got majority of these guys here, but there is a rear charge coming in from my opponent from some Dread Spears. But the Blood Rack Shrine will go down pretty quickly. These guys are holding the line over here, so that's doing pretty good. We've got Malagor back here. We do send him in, I believe, for another Vile Tide. Over on this side, we are doing pretty good. My ally sends in his Hammerers, his Iron Breakers, his Big Boys, and the Thunderers. These guys are going to start dealing some really good damage and finishing off what the rest of my Minotaurs couldn't. We've got the Giant in here fighting the Pure Main Company. These guys are going to get shreked into next week. They're just going to be clubbed into, like, watch this. Pew! Oh, he didn't even launch any. There we go. That guy went flying. They're going to get fired. The Brimstones are firing in on the Handmaiden of the Everqueen. They've got the Anti-Large. She is on a horse, so that's going to be pretty effective. He does switch those on to the Phoenixes as well once those are done. Miners with the Blasting Charges have destroyed these units here. The Giant is fine there. We do switch our Cygor over onto the Archers over the back there. And we do send in a spare group of Minotaurs that we had in reserve, just in case. The Dark Elf buff does proc off here, but luckily enough for us, we are in range of the Flame Cannon, so that does start opening up. And at this stage, I do start consolidating my forces, trying to get them back together to send them all into one attack to try and shut down the Siren of Red Ruin, because we do manage to shut down the thingy, and a Bray Scream shredding through the Bleak Swords and the Dread Spears. Look at the kills there. The Minotaurs with great weapons are going on to the Siren of Red Ruin. A little bit of a caught up there from the other Minotaurs. They were headed over to the Bleak Swords. A juicy charge coming in from the rear. Look at that. Big boy Minotaurs coming in there. So we've got those boys taking that on. The Siren of Red Ruin, she ain't looking too hot over there. She's surrounded by a bunch of beefy boys. It's definitely not something you want to see. I wouldn't even look for this stuff on the deepest, darkest interwebs. Definitely don't want to see a bunch of bully boys pummeling a Medusa. That's for sure. So, yeah, she's about dead. We've got 2 of them. They should be enough to take her on. We've got another group of Minotaurs with shields in the back here, and we do start sending these guys into the Archers at the back here. They are pretty healthy. They were chasing off something. I don't remember what it was. But we do start bringing Malagor back into protection of this sort of shielded area, I guess you could call it. So Malagor's going to be casting some spells back here. I do believe we get another Vile Tide and a Bray Scream. Huge chunk of Dark Elf forces here. So I do switch my Cygors in to start shutting them down, because a lot of the High Elves are shutted down. I do send the Giant this way to try and shatter the rest of the forces. You can see the balance of power looking pretty damn good in my favor. Thunderers switch tails, and they just start firing in onto the Hageneth Executioners, Malice, Darkblade. A lot of this stuff is going bye-bye. We do start sending in the Minotaurs as well to try and shut down the rest. Oh, wouldn't want to be those Hageneth Executioners. So these guys are coming over here to try and help shut down these boys. A big Vile Tide coming in, just doing some decent damage there. Trying to slow them down, slow the advance down. I've got a couple of groups of Minotaurs here. This one has done really good at shutting down the Dark Shards. And my ally does pop. Grombrindle has no fear, making a lot of our units unbreakable for a certain duration, which is really good. Longbeards are chasing down these Shadow Warriors. They're pretty much out of ammunition though, so it's pretty much GG from there. Minotaurs with great weapons chasing off the rest of those units. And you can see pretty much what's left of my opponent's forces is these units here. He's got Malice Darkblade over here and a Master, I believe. They're pretty much routed. Teclis over here, he hasn't actually taken any damage really. I do believe we do send a group of Minotaurs with great weapons. Yeah, these guys start heading over there, but it's pretty much GG's due to army losses. And you can see there's a lot of units that have been killed. A lot of Minotaurs that have done a lot of reaping. I do send the Minotaurs with great weapons after Teclis, because I'm like, I didn't even notice him at the beginning. And I'm like, these boys, they are going to destroy Teclis if we can catch up to him. Look at these guys, just look at these charging along, carrying their giant axes. Definitely an intimidating force. I would not want to come across these guys in a battle, but pretty much the rest of the forces are gone. The only reason we haven't gotten victory yet is because good old Malice over here, he's Tzarkan at the moment. He's trying to put up a fight, but as you can see, he's absolutely surrounded by Hammerers. He's surrounded by Longbeards, Slayers, and Grombrindle himself. So Grombrindle, the White Dwarf, he ain't taking none of Malice's shit. And just like that, guys, we've got a victory. So really good match. I really enjoyed this one, just playing as the Minotaurs and just charging in there. They did rack up quite a few kills, 208 on these big boys. This was probably the one that stayed behind and dealt with all the Dark Shards in the back. Malagor got a couple of kills. Cygor's picked up pretty good kills as well. So did our Giant. He managed to shut down that Pure Main company, which was really good. And, we got pretty good kills across the board with our Minotaurs. Great Weapons didn't get as many kills because they were probably going for the larger targets, which is fine. But my opponent, he didn't really shut down too many forces. Huggeneth Executioners did pretty good. The Archers didn't really kill it. I mean, they got a couple of kills. They were dealing with Minotaurs, which are 12-unit forces, 12 model units, so they did manage to get a couple of kills. Skullgamer, though, he was the MVP. His artillery would have carried us to victory, literally. We wouldn't have won that fight without the artillery, which was what I was hoping for. I was hoping he would bring the artillery, because, you know, you're playing as the Dwarves. You're going to be bringing artillery. So I'm really glad he brought the artillery. Thunderers did really good. The Gyrocopters did really good as well as pushing off the Handmaiden of the Everqueen. As for the High Elves, not too bad. The Phoenix Guard got a couple of kills. Definitely would have been on our Minotaurs and whatnot. But yeah, I was really happy with how the game went. I really enjoyed that one. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it as well. And that's going to wrap up today's video, guys. So thank you very much for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed it. And I will catch you in the next one.